Thanks again for stopping by on my channel. If you are a reseller, you sell clothing, you sell electronics, you sell books, this is where we meet. Every day we sit here freestyling. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the warehouse. Just sit here and share experiences. And I kind of do this pretty much on a daily basis. And I have found that a lot of people are kind of being helped by these little tips I'm sharing. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, this might be a very good time for you to consider subscribing to the channel. Help your boy. All right, something we're going to be talking about today. If you take a look at the major online space where reselling advice are being dished out every day, one thing you tend to see is buy cheap, sell high. This is one advice. It looks very harmless on the surface level, but the problem is this buy cheap, sell high. There used to be a time where it was very was a good advice to give to somebody that is just trying to start out reselling. But 2026, things have pretty much changed. There's been a lot of ups and downs in the reselling space. Inventories more than ever before are getting more difficult to get, and that's something people don't talk about. The buy cheap advice, which leaves you to just buying all form of craps. Nobody pretty much wants those items anymore. The kind of stuff that people are looking at buying now in the second-hand platforms, let's say eBay, whatnot, Facebook Marketplace. The kind of second-hand items people are looking to buy are those items where the new items are so expensive to get, which kind of forces people to still rely in the second-hand market. Take a look at clothing, for example. Right now, I'm telling you, last time I checked C&A, one of the big clothing retailers here in Germany, I could see new t-shirts for €4. Guys, I'm not kidding you. I could see new trousers, new jeans for like €7, €6. I'm talking about bad qualities. I'm talking about very good quality stuff. All right, but if you take a look at the electronics category, so to say, the new items, a new desktop PC now is still not selling for €200. A new monitor, perhaps you might get them cheap, but a very functional monitor is still not cheap to come by. A very functional laptop, I'm telling you, it's still very expensive. So when people get this kind of stuff in the used market, they're able to say, you know what, I don't care because I'm just trying to save money. I don't mind buying an item that has some signs of use here and there, but the fact that I'm getting it for cheap is a very good motivation for me. And this is why you see people still buying this kind of items. All right, but the problem is, if you are going with the mindset that you want to buy cheap and sell high, once again you're going to be buying these stuffs. Yes, on the front end you are happy that you are getting these items for cheap, but you are pretty much losing money because you're going to end up buying some bunch of inventories that nobody wants to accept from you. As if that's not enough, you're going to spend time listing those items, most of the time cleaning them, because the items are so cheap. Most of the time they're going to come in very bad conditions. You're going to spend a lot of time sorting them through and then listing them, only to realize that nobody is buying them. It took me a long time to change something in my brain before I realized that most times right now the best way you make money, or you are guaranteed of making money, is if you take a lot of money and put it up front, which means think about buying inventories that are expensive, not cheap inventories. Aim at getting, if you want to focus your effort in selling laptops, aim at getting laptops which would cost you about €250 just to buy it, so that you end up flipping it for about €400 or €350, depending on your business model. You're going to be better off, because at this price point you're going to be getting some of the best inventories in the market. You're talking about the HP Elite books, the Dell Latitudes, the Fujitsu Life books, and these high-class business PCs, Lenovo ThinkPads, that people want to get at all costs in the used market. The reason being that the new of these devices that I just gave you now, they are still very, very expensive to get. Also, one thing that took me a long time to actually change was I used to think that the fact that it's a laptop, somebody is waiting somewhere to buy it from you. No, there are certain categories of laptops that tend to sell. Talking about the Dell Optiplexes, talking about the Dell Latitudes, the 14 inches, 15 inches notebooks, the Lenovo ThinkPads, 14 inches, 15 inches, the HP Elite books. These are the brands that have been proven over and over and again to sell. If you want to test that, go to the research section on eBay and you realize that in the last 1 week, it's either a Dell Latitude is selling or a Lenovo ThinkPad or a HP Elite book. Yes, there is a reason for this. And if you feel like you want to reinvent the ways spend your money because you have been told to buy cheap and sell high, you go buy all sort of cheap laptops, you're going to be shocked that nobody is going to take this kind of stuff from you in this day and age. I'm talking about 2026. Forget about 5 years ago. Everything, it was a free for all back then, but right now the market has become so sensitive. People have kind of found out that it's better, or it's kind of penny wise to just spend your money buying something that will last for you, not something that you buy for say 50 euros laptop, all inclusive, hard drive, RAM, charger. At the end of the day, you bring it home and realize that you cannot use it to multitask, you cannot use it to do anything. So people are getting smarter, and because of that, they are actually looking out for good offers. And good offers in this case means a little bit more expensive items, but the item must check every mark that they have set out, which is a very solid processor, good hard drives, good RAM sticks, and overall good condition. This kind of devices, be it a laptop, be it a desktop PC, be it a monitor, you cannot get them for cheap. So you are better off changing something in your brain, telling yourself, yes, there used to be a time where it was a very good advice to buy cheap and sell for high, but right now you might want to focus on look items that are a little bit more expensive, because you have better guarantees on selling those items than you looking for a bunch of $2, $3 or €1, €3 PC or laptops and think that you can actually go ahead and flip them as for 70 or 80 euros. It might work, but I'm telling you, this is not a sustainable business model. And one other thing that you might kind of bottleneck that you might come across is that you might not be able to find this kind of cheap stuff on a regular basis, but the expensive categories of laptops, of desktop PCs, they are there. The serious suppliers, they kind of trade on these items. There are so few places that you can actually get to see on a constant level scrap laptops for sale. But if you go to the big time suppliers out there, they always have Lenovo laptops, they always have Dell Latitude laptops, they always have Dell Optiplex PCs, HP Elite books, Elite desk, and so on and so forth. There's a reason for this, and you are better off playing this kind of game right now in 2026 if you of course want to do this business as something that will stand the test of time. So this idea of buying cheap, selling high, like I said, is a very good advice on the front end, but the more you begin to look deeper or practice this thing to its core, you're going to realize sooner or later that it doesn't really work at all levels. And right now, if you even put this same idea to clothing, you also realize that the same thing applies. If you think you want to buy the cheap clothing for 50 cents or for $1 or €1 clothing and try to want to flip them, you realize that people are pretty much aware now that look, with 3 or 4, even 5 euros or dollars, you can actually get a new cloth that's still wearable with very decent quality. So the best game that you are better off playing is to look for those expensive stuff like the Levi's jeans and buy them for a little bit more expensive. You're looking at buying a jeans for say 10, 12 euros or dollars, and thinking about flipping them for about $35, 35 euros. See, I'm just throwing figures here. I haven't really done the math, but I pretty much say used computers, and I would like to stay in this category. What I'm trying to say in effect is that change something in your brain. If you realize that your business model is not really working, you are spending a lot of time going out there to thrift for items to source, and then you are bringing them home. You are having to do all manner of work, clean the items, stage them, make photographs, and then list them one after the other. At the end of the day, nothing is selling. Change your business model. Look at buying 5 expensive items, items that you can actually tell that these are the items that the market wants, and this is not something that you just pick from the sky. You actually have this figure hidden there on eBay, because if you go through the sold listings, you spend a lot of time there. You can pretty much tell where the trend is going. What are the items people are looking for? Look for these items. Limit yourself to just buying a very few of them. So if you are talking about just buying 10 of these items, buy them and do a very good job by ensuring that the items that you have bought, they are in very, very good condition. Go ahead and list them. It's also not going to wear you out listing 10 items. Pretty much very easy to do, and make sure you do a very good job in presenting that item in terms of the description, the staging, the photographs, and watch how those items will sell. Of course, this is not a guarantee that at the end of the day it's going to work out like this, but I'm telling you, this was exactly what I changed in my business model a long time ago that made me still relevant today selling on eBay. Of course, there are ups and downs. There are times where items don't sell for no reason. But like I said, you are better off playing this kind of game, which is buying a little bit more expensive inventories and even flipping them for more expensive price if you want to succeed in this business. I hope this video helps you. If it did, go to the comment section, let me know about it. Consider clicking on the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Until I see you again in the next video, peace out.